Protesters have clashed with police in the Netherlands after the Prime Minister declared a new round of hard-hitting COVID lockdown measures. Arrests were made when fireworks were set off and stones thrown at officers who responded with water cannon. The government's decision comes as new COVID cases jumped to an all-time high earlier this week, despite the country having a 72% vaccination rate. The new round of measures include curfews in public places and early closing for non-essential businesses. And Austria is about to introduce even tougher restrictions after a surge in COVID numbers. The Chancellor has just approved the new nationwide lockdown, which will only apply to the unvaccinated. Alexander Schallenberg explained the controversial move.
I don't see why 2/3 should lose their freedom, because 1/3 is dithering. For me, it's clear that there should be no lockdown for the vaccinated, out of solidarity for the unvaccinated.
The tough new rules were initially planned for just 2 regions, but are now being expanded to the entire country. That means people who haven't received COVID shots, more than 1/3 of the population, will only be allowed to leave their homes for essential reasons such as buying groceries, seeing a doctor or going to work. And it is part of a worldwide pattern. In Singapore, COVID patients who decline the jab will have to pay their own medical bills. Regions in Germany are allowing restaurants, bars and clubs to serve only those who are inoculated or have recently recovered from COVID. In Greece, visitors to restaurants, state services and banks must present vaccination certificates or negative test results. While here in Russia, St. Petersburg is imposing mandatory vaccinations for senior citizens. My colleague Colin Bray discussed the policies with a panel of guests.
I just feel that the whole force compulsory takes this to another level. It just takes away the choice, and I think that's deeply worrying.
Dr. Pankhania, are the restrictions largely based on trying to prevent transmission, or just trying to get the numbers up to make sure more people are vaccinated as they circulate in society?
No, we want to get the numbers up, because if you get the numbers up, a number of positive benefits accrue. One, the person is protected from severe illness and dying. That's one. Second, they are most unlikely to end up in hospital. And then the third, an immunized person is infectious for a shorter period of time.
What we're seeing is a lot of confusion and maybe even some moral panic and hysteria that's coming from a lot of these bubbles and communities that are sharing concerns about the fears of not being vaccinated or the fears of being vaccinated.
You know, there's lots of people coming into the hospitals, and I think it's quite unfair to just target those healthcare workers, and forcing it. And I think a lot of it, we're not really, we're not anti-vaccine. We can see the importance of having the vaccine. However, I think you're just going to a different level when it's compulsory.
I have been talking to a lot of healthcare workers who have been hesitant about vaccines, a lot of them from nursing homes. And I gave them of my time, effort and energy, showing them how the vaccine works, what it does, what it doesn't do, how it will protect them. And in the end, most of them went on to get immunized. So we need to do our homework of inform, advise, educate as well.
Dr. Pankhania, we saw some of the anger from UK care home workers about being told by politicians to get a vaccination. But there will be people who remember back to last spring and those fatality numbers in UK care homes who are going to be thinking, if I'm putting my relative in these care homes, I want people